How much progress have I made in the last week? Find out in today's episode. G'day, my name is Sean and this is my weekly update where I share my quilting adventures. It comes to what I've been working on, what I've completed, and all the other fun and exciting news. Let's go ahead and get started with our works in progress. The first thing I want to show you is some progress on a brand new block. This is the Mad Quilt Party, which is an Alice in Wonderland themed inspired sew along by Art East Quilting Co. And we're going to make this block here the Queen of Hearts. Took ages to cut out all the fabric, but we've got her face done, and I think this one turned out really nicely. It's all Tula pink fabrics except for this red here, which is Kona sheen. I thought it would look more fun with the red right there. Next up, I want to show you something I have not worked on in quite some time, and that is the stitchets. Back, if you remember, in December, January, February, I was working on some of the stitchet blocks, which was a Christmas thing that Cotton Cut did last year. And I realized that I only had 14 instead of 15 blocks, so I put together one last block, and I think this one turned out really nicely. It's a bunch of just scraps or leftovers from the other pieces. We've got 5 pinwheels here in the corners and in the center, and then the rest is just squares. And I think this turned out really nicely. Let me know what you think in the comments on this one as well. I also put together clues 3 of the brand new Puzzle Mystery Quilt by Cotton Cuts, which is Under the Sea. I'm doing in the Medusa, which is the Purple Batiks by Hoffman, and they had 2 different blocks. The first one is this one here. I think this one turned out really nicely. And then the bigger one here is here. Got this. And if you're interested in joining in on this Puzzle Mystery Quilt, today is your last day. So jump on over to Cotton Cuts if you're interested in joining in, and that way you can get signed up before the sign-ups close. And then finally, I do have a little bit of progress on Toasty, which is the foundation paper piecing kit by Legit Kits. I didn't get a whole lot done, but I did get these 2 little sections done. I'm actually enjoying these smaller pieces more than the bigger ones because it seems to go together a lot faster. And then here we go here. Now this piece here right in the middle is not actually the right color. It was supposed to be something slightly darker. I didn't realize it until I put like the first 3 or 4 pieces together, and I thought, you know what, I'm not ripping it out. It's not that big a deal. Same color, just a different shade, but I think it actually looks better here because it gives this definition to this spine here, or whatever this is going to be. And so that's what I have for my works in progress. I'll have more news later on, but before we get to that, let's go ahead and do our week in review. If you're new to the channel, thank you so much for tuning in to this. I hope you enjoy it. And it's just basically a series of videos I take during the week, most of me sewing, but also of any adventures we get up to, so I hope you enjoy. Last week I asked everybody how many days on average do you sew during the week. I loved reading all the answers. Some of you are like me and try to sew every day or close to it, and some of you only get into the sewing room a couple of times a week, and that's perfectly fine. You know, whatever you can do, life gets busy, that sort of thing there as well. This week I thought it'd be fun to ask, what is your longest dwelling WIP that you intend to finish? I know we all have projects sometimes that we start and we're just like, this isn't what we signed up for, or it just wasn't what I expected, and that's okay. But what about the one that you want to finish? For me, I talked about it in yesterday's video, but it's going to be this project here of all the beautiful applique blocks that I made. I do plan on putting these together very soon. That's mine. I started that in 2019, so it's about 5.5 years old, almost 6 years old. What about you? Let me know in the comments. So what are my goals for this week? Well, I'd like to make a little bit of progress on several different projects, kind of like what I did this week. Which ones? Probably the Queen of Hearts, maybe some more work on the, I don't know, we'll just have to see what tickles my interest that week. But yeah, just some progress, continued progress on a few different items, so I have more stuff to show you. What about you? Now it is time for my news at events, and I had one live last week, and that was for my friend Tammy at 10 p.m. last Sunday evening, where we put together the Fab Farm quilt top, and you'll get to see that a little later in the episode. That was a lot of fun, and it was really nice to be able to put this project to a conclusion. I enjoyed it immensely, but it was time to move on to something else. And then yesterday I released my whip update, which is where I went through and checked out how many whips I actually had and what progress I had made since I made the similar video back in January. This coming week I plan on doing a short on the Clues 3 of the Puzzle Mystery Quilt by Cotton Cuts in Under the Sea. And then this Saturday morning I'm very excited to have my friend Amy Dement back. It's been a year or two since we've had her on the channel, so I'm very excited to have her back on as well. So now it is time to talk about a completed object, and I talked about this a few moments ago. It's the Fab Farm by Elizabeth Hartman. This is the one that I was doing along with my friend Tammy over at the Siberian Wind, and this is the completed quilt top. I think it turned out spectacularly. I'm really excited to hear your comments on this. Next we'll just have to quilt this. I think I'm going to do maybe a cross hatch and in the background areas, and then for the things themselves, we'll decorate each one. You know, I'd like to put this in the state fair next year. We'll have to see if that happens. Let me know which animal is your favorite. For me, I think it's probably the pig. But yeah, I'd love to hear what your comments on that as well. So what's next? Now that I've finished the Fab Farm quilt top, should I start a new project? Well, I probably shouldn't because I have too many as it is, but probably will. But anyway, what I'd like to do is focus a little more on quilting and do it like some quilting at least on one project a week. I think the one I'm going to focus on next is this one here that you saw last week, and unfortunately haven't done any progress on it since. But I think I'd like to focus on doing at least some quilting one day a week for the foreseeable future, so that way we can start knocking down that whip pile, the quilt top pile as well. Well, that is it for today's episode. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please hit that like button. Tell a friend. I always love hearing comments from my viewers. I hope you all have a great day. Happy sewing, and we'll see you all next time. Bye.